Hi girls, how are you? So today we are going to do eyebrows, okay? This is probably my 4th or 5th attempt at this video because it's actually quite difficult to show you on camera, look in the mirror, and then when I try to do it on this, it's just difficult, okay? So we'll get there. So, eyebrow brushes, okay? I showed you last week in a picture what my eyebrow brush looks like. Like I say, you use what's going to be most comfortable with you. The best advice I can give is just keep it as thin as possible, as small as possible, then you can control it that wee bit better. The thicker it is and the longer it is, the more that's going to go on, okay? And you don't want too much on too soon, alright? So, eyebrow product, I have a little powder palette here. It's MUA out of Superdrug. It's not very expensive. Dark brown or black, because I always go black on my eyebrows. You can go lighter brown if you've got lighter brows, okay? I also have a little pot here out of Avon. A little bit more extreme would be the right word. I'll probably use this on a night out because it will show you like a really intense, really bold eyebrow. Okay, so we're going to start off and try and keep it quite natural, just for those that have maybe not done it before, those that maybe struggle with it. Eyebrows is so difficult to get, okay? You can guarantee you'll do one perfect and the second one will never be as good. Just keep up the practice, keep going. If it starts to really do your head in, move on to the next stage and then you can go back and fix it up. Same whenever we get to the eyes, if they don't look nice, don't let it stress you. When it gets to that stage, just move on and I can guarantee it will all come together really, really well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is brush the eyebrows into shape, okay? So I have had my eyebrows laminated, it's all running out, the product's not there anymore and they're all just every shape, okay? So brush them to make sure all the hairs is going in the right direction. So I'm just going to do this between the camera and the mirror, so I hope you can see this, okay? Perfect. So now we need to measure out the eyebrows. So if somebody has quite a poor shape, has no arch, maybe some people have very, very, very fair eyebrows, you maybe can't see them, you need to draw them on. Maybe some people haven't had their eyebrows waxed in a really, really long time. So therefore, it's hard to know what shape to draw them into. So I'm going to show you how to measure out the brows, where they're supposed to be measured out, and hopefully that'll give you a guide as to what shape is to draw them, okay? So we're going to take a little bit of product and the first line we're going to do should run parallel with the side of the nose. Okay, so hold your brush up like that and that's where your eyebrow should start. That nice long line, okay? So I'm just going to draw a line on for you. Okay, so it should start roughly from there. Now you'll see that I have a big gap there in my eyebrows. That's just probably plucking years ago. I've tried to grow it out, it's never going to grow out, so we'll just fill it in. So the second line, it is going to go between the colour part of your eyebrow, or the colour part of your eye, and the end of your eye. So see that white bit in the middle? If you held your brush in the middle of the white bit, that should roughly be where your arch is. Now do use your common sense here. If somebody's arch is further up or further there, you might have to follow their own natural arch because you don't want to arch it up too much and then they have an arch after, okay? So we're going to draw a wee line. Roughly like there. Alright, and then the end of the eyebrow will run parallel with the end of your nose through the last eyelash, and then that's where your brow should finish, okay? My brow's not too far off it, to be fair. So if you're not sure on how to draw out the shape, put them wee lines on your face. You'll always be able to take it out with a little bit of cleanser. You can just rub it off with a wet cloth, whatever you prefer, okay? So now we're going to start drawing the brow on. So we're going to go from A to B, and then from B to C, okay? I tried to draw on the hairline, and then once you've drew on the hairline, you can decide if you want this brow to be higher up or lower up, depending on what look you're going for. If you went up too high too soon, then you're going to end up with really, really thick bushy brows, okay? So try and stick to the hairline. When we go from A to B, you're always going to start probably about there, just a little bit way in, because you don't want to have a really, really thick block brow from the start, okay? We want to keep that front bit a little bit faded. So we're going to pop a little bit of product on, and we're going to go from A to B. So I'm just going to see if I can show you this. Okay, hope you can see that. And then we are going to go from B to C. So although you'll find that I'm not putting on an awful lot of product, if I had quite light brows, you would notice it that wee bit better. I just happen to have quite dark brows. Normally when I'm doing this in the classroom, I'll look around everybody and see who's got the worst brows and do it on them because it's easier to show. So now we're going to go from B to C. Okay, so you can see already how that's a little bit darker and a little bit filled in. So we've now drew a line along the bottom of the brow. Now we're going to do the top of the brow. So we'll go back to A to B. And then we'll do B to C. Okay, so that's my brow shape. I'm going to fill in the middle. I'm going to tick off these wee lines so you can see exactly what I've done. So I'm literally just colouring it in. It's just like a big colouring book. Okay, once you've filled it in, then you're going to go up close to the eyebrow and say to yourself, right, do I want to take this eyebrow any higher or any lower? If you want to go a little bit higher, all you have to do is put your brush that little bit higher up and go across. Now, you can see my hairs are all sitting up a wee bit. That's because I had them laminated into the fluffy brow. Okay, now what we're going to do with the very front part of the brow, you're going to get your brush and you're not going to apply any more product onto your brush, okay? So whatever you have on your brush will be enough. And we're simply just going to brush across the way, just to fill that in, but not have it black as the rest of the brow, if that makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to take these wee lines off and then let you see a better shape. Okay, so I've just rubbed off them lines just with a wet face cloth just so that you can see. So when you look at it versus this one, it's so much more bolder and of a shape. It's not OTT, it's not going to be black. I'll do my eye makeup and then I'll decide if I want to put on heavier brows or if I want to go lighter brows, okay? So this is where you use your personal preference as to, depend on where you're going really. When I go out, my brows are always going to be that wee bit more bolder. Now, if you've done your brows and you're sitting looking at it and you're thinking, gosh, these brows are far too dark, they're far too bold, rather than take them all off, get your wee spoolie brush and you're going to brush through it, because the spoolie brush will just like bring that shade of that powder down slightly, okay? It just softens the whole brow. Okay, so I'm going to go and do the second brow and then I'll be back. Okay, so that's both my brows done, okay? So when I look at this now, I think, oh, these brows are a little bit bold, a little bit thick. So don't panic, because obviously I have no more makeup on. So although I think they're just a little bit much for me, a little bit dark, when I put on my eye makeup, mascara, eyeliner and all, actually my brows fit in quite well. So the next step of your eyebrows, okay, is going to be your concealer. So you're going to conceal the whole eye area now, alright? Now, I always refer to this as panda eyes. This is where I want to see you with big white panda eyes, okay? So I have tan on today, so this is going to be quite white compared to what I'm used to. That's totally fine, because what I want, this is going to be your primer for your eyeshadow. It'll all blend together at the very end. Now, the reason we prime around the eye area is because, say for instance, I'm going to put on bright luminous pink eyeshadow. If I put pink eyeshadow on, it might not come out the true colour depending on your skin tone. So when you conceal that whole area, when you put the pink on, it's going to come out bright. It's basically like you're taking this back to white, okay? So I've quite a few concealers here lying in the drawer that I've used. This one's from Avon, Mark one, it's fine. This one's from Primark, and this is Maybelline. This one's really, really good. So I'm going to pop them on the side of my face just to let you see the different colours and textures of them. I tend to go for as white a one as possible because obviously I want my eye area that quite white. I think the one out of Primark has a bit of a pink tone off it. It's still grand, still does the job, so we'll go first with Avon. Okay. Obviously, you're not going to pop it on your cheek. This is just to show you. That was the Primark one, sorry, not the Avon. This is the Avon one. And then we've got the Maybelline one. The one thing I love about this is the wee sponge. It's so soft. Okay, so pigment. I would say the white one's a good one for the eye area. This one's quite natural to my skin tone. This one's a lot softer. Okay, so it's really going to pretend, or it's really going to be just what you want to do. So I'm going to go with the middle one, the one out of Avon, simply because it's the whitest. It's the one that you're going to see the biggest difference to. So just get a concealer brush here. Okay, so I'm going to layer this all on, and then I'm going to go around it with a concealer brush. So my concealer brush, this is just out of Primark. Simply just a wee flat, thin but hard brush, okay? Because I'm going to go right round and I'm going to go up round the eyebrows. At this stage, if you have done your eyebrows and one's a little bit higher than the other, without taking it all off and having to restart again, don't panic. Let it be the way it is. When you go around with your concealer, then you're going to literally just tidy along the brows, okay? I always call your concealer like Tip-X around the eye area, okay? So we're going to layer it all on. You're going to take it all down under that eye area, so that's going to cover any black eyes, any tired eyes that you have. Great for tired eyes, to be honest. Some days I find that I can just throw on my natural wee concealer under my eyes if I'm not wearing much makeup. Especially at the minute, if I have to go to the shop or anything, I'll just throw on a wee bit of natural concealer under the eye just to take off the tired look. Okay, so you'll see I'm literally just throwing this on, and then I'll go round and tidy it all up. Okay. So I'm just using my wee brush just to pat it out, pull it out, put it where it all needs to be. How white my eyes is looking now, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh. I remember I've quite a bit of fake tan on today, so this is where you will see how a more defined eyebrow shape, because I've just went round it there, tidied up any little bits that were drew on wrong, took it in nice and sharp underneath, and there you have it, a nice white eye. So I'm just going to pop and do the other one. Okay, so this is me. I don't think I've ever been on a video or showed anybody my face like this. Probably if I hadn't got tan on, this white eye look probably wouldn't be too far off my natural colour, to be fair. So I have just popped that all out. filled in all the gaps that I need to be in, and now I'm going to get my wee blending brush, okay? Wee blending sponge. You can get these on a brush as well if you want, so whatever you prefer. What I'm going to do with this now, I'm going to go around that concealer and pat it into the skin, okay? This is what I would call like baking. So think we're baking a cake or something and we're layering it all up and getting it all ready. Now, the reason we pat this into the skin is just to set it, just to put it into place, okay? It just stops it moving. Because I've used a liquid concealer, we don't want it to move. What I would say, girls, is try and get a liquid concealer. You can get powder concealers, but they're so much more harder to come out. Like, as you can see how white that has made my face. So liquid one is just so much easier to work with, so much easier to spread as well. So see how far it goes up or how far it comes down, doesn't really matter. We'll tidy that all up later. Probably got a bit much on. As long as that eye and eyebrow area is all concealed, okay? So this is basically your eyebrow look. We have one more thing just to finish off. And then next week we are going to get to this stage and then we'll go in with eyeshadow. The last stage we're going to do is put on setting powder. So you can imagine that this eye area, this concealer is liquid, it's wet. So imagine if I went in now with a powder eyeshadow. I'm not sure if you can see it. When you open and close your eyes, you may get creases and the liquid might form like liquid creases, and we don't want that. When we put on our colour eyeshadow, we don't want it to stick in places where it shouldn't stick. So we're going to set it with setting powder. That basically keeps the concealer in place and dries it out, if that makes sense. Now, I just have this one out of Avon because I ran out of setting powder. I love the Airspun one, but I ran out of it, and the wee girl down the road from me does Avon. So I just got it from her for handiness for this one time, okay? Comes in a wee pot like that. It's normally white, or you can get like a banana one, I think, maybe out of Primark. So I just use a fluffy brush. I just dab a bit in. That's obviously way too much. So once you dab it in, just hit it at the side of your pot and try and get it to go out. So what I'm going to do is just literally brush that powder over that area. You'll find as well with setting powder, if you have foundation or concealer on and it's a wee bit much one way or the other, when you put the setting powder on, the setting powder will just like settle it, if that makes sense. Okay, so I don't look as bad now, and all that cream, liquid, everything is around the face. Sometimes if you happen to go over your eyebrows with a bit of powder, don't panic. Just get your wee eyebrow brush and run it back over. I'll just shift the powder off. Okay, so what I want you to do is practice your eyebrows, practice it on yourself, practice it in somebody else. Because we're online and not in a class environment, probably will be doing a lot of this on your own. What I will say is when we're in the class, I'll let you practice on your own face, that's fine. But eventually I'll try and push you to practice on somebody else. Doing eyebrows and all that there is so much harder to do on somebody else than it is yourself. But that's honestly the best way to learn, because you'll be able to do amazing makeup on yourself all the time. But whenever you go to work with somebody else, different eyebrow shape or whatever, you want to be able to do it on other people. So if you have any children, teenage children at home, boyfriends if they really want, husbands, see if they can let you practice. I found at the very start as well, to get my eyebrow shape in place, I just sat at night with a page and just drew a shape and coloured it in and shaded. And I am no artist, like I'm really bad at art, but that just helped me get that perfect shape. So do practice away. Send me a wee message of your eyebrows and let me know how you have got on with it. You can send it to me directly on the VLE website, or you can send it to me on WhatsApp, whatever you prefer, okay? So before I go today, girls, I want to show you the brushes that I use for eyeshadow. So we're going to move on to eyeshadow next week, okay? And the best way just to explain it is if you have the right brush, it makes it so much easier, alright? A lot of makeup artists at the minute are saying it's not the brand, it's the hand. And that's very, very true, okay? So, I have 2 eyeshadow brushes. I swear my life on these eyeshadow brushes, and I always warn everybody in the class, if my eyeshadow brush goes missing, I will kill somebody, okay? So, I call them fluffy brushes. I refer to them as fluffy brushes, okay? This one is my absolute god. I probably should have 2 or 3 of these. I keep saying I'm going to order more and I don't, so really need to. This is a Kira Daily brush. I got this maybe 5-6 years ago, and it's still perfect. It still does the job. So it does last. It was only maybe, I think at that time it was like £16. To me that was dear for a makeup brush, but like I say, I've had this for years and it's just so, so, so good. So my small fluffy brush, okay, it is, see again, it's like it's about the size of my wee finger. So it's really soft. So when I run my fingers through it, the bristles should be able to move, okay? If the bristles are hard, you imagine when you're going to do this and you want to blend it and keep all the colours together, if the bristles is hard, you've got no room for manoeuvre. It makes it so much harder to blend. The softer it is, the easier it'll be, okay? So this is my absolute godsend. So something small, make sure the bristles are nice and soft. You know, it's not that big. This is my other fluffy brush. So just in comparison to sizing, this one came on a set off eBay. It's brilliant. But to do eyeshadows, I find it just a little bit too big, okay? If somebody had quite a small eye area and I'm going on with it, there's too much product going on and it gets messy. So what we'll do is, I do use both. This one I put the colour on. This is a spare one which I put no product on, and I use that just to blend colours out. Okay, so if you have brushes like this at home, all the brushes that I use, girls, you might have brushes at home that they're not the same as mine, but you find them really, really easy to use. So honestly, use whatever you find easiest. This is only going by my recommendations. Now, I have loads of other wee brushes. These are all off eBay. So, you know the way you'll get like a 30-piece makeup set for £6, okay? You know, they're great. They'll give you loads of good brushes. But the only thing I find is you never get a good eyebrow brush and you never get a good eyeshadow brush in it. And that's the 2 that you really, really need. Like, you'll see all these different sizes. I will always use these. Do you know, like, I'll use these for different colours, for patting on glitter, for maybe just if I want to be very particular about what colour I'm using. So you will see me using loads of different brushes. But for blending and main colours, definitely these is your best. You'll rely on them all the time. Okay, so any problems, or if you have any brushes at home and you want to send me pictures of it if you're not too sure, send away. No problem at all.